Hi, welcome to this episode of our vlog where we're going to do a little in-depth look at what we've been doing on our blog, SomedayNow.us. First up, we're going to cover some hiking in Yosemite. We went to the Railroad Museum State Park, which has some old railroads that we took a ride on, and we'll explain a little more in our coming up here. We went paddleboarding up at Pinecrest Lake, and we went hiking in Calaveras Big Trees State Park to look at some giant sequoias. So when we first got here, we knew we wanted to go down to Yosemite and check it out. We took a drive down the first day. It was packed. There was no place to park. It was hot. We bailed out, came back, made a game plan, and the next day we went down. We went for a hike up to Vernal Falls, which goes along the Mist Trail, which basically you're hiking below the waterfall, and the mist is spraying on you, and it's basically just a long flight of steps up to the top of the waterfall. The hike took us even further up higher, where we could see Nevada Falls further up the canyon, and then back down. As we were hiking back to the car, all the visitors had finally got there, because we started up at 7 o'clock in the morning, and it was just a train of people up. So we're glad we got there early and got out of there before it got too hot. After that, we drove up to Glacier Point Lookout, which overlooks the whole valley and is a great spot if you have time to do it. It's about a 30-mile drive, probably about an hour drive to get up there. But it was well worth the drive if you want to be able to get a full view of the valley.
One of the excursions that we did during this time was to go to Railtown 1897, historic park in the state of California, that the Sierra 3 steam engine was located still to this day, and we were able to take a ride on it. This steam engine has been featured in many movies and films over time, and this included, as Jason said, The Pale Rider, Bound for Glory, Blood Red, Back to the Future 3, An American Trail, Little House on the Prairie, and many other television and movies of the Old West times. We had a great time, even though it was hot, and seeing the scenery and recognizing what we saw in those television programs, but also enjoyed a steam train engine ride.
Today we're at Natural Bridges State Park, and there's a trail that's behind us here. We're gonna hike down. Supposedly there's a creek we can wade in, which is good because it's 99. It's gonna be a warm hike down, but there's some caves, bridges. We'll see. Probably a good time to point out that if this creek is dry, it's going to be a very short hike. It's hot. We're going to turn right around and hike out of here. There's no reason to be this hot and not have a way to cool off. Turns out the creek did have water in it, and it was flowing through a natural cavern. It had worn through the limestone, so you entered in from one side and can float through to the other side. The water as you got into the cave was really cold, but after that hike it felt really good. Sorry for kind of the shaky video here, but I was holding the camera in my hand as I floated and swam through the We hung out in the nice cool water for a little while, then put our shoes back on and started the hike back up out of the canyon here. My shirt was totally dry by the time we got to the top. Great trip, great hike. Glad we found this. The next day we decided it was time to cool off, so we headed up into the mountains to Pinecrest Lake, which turns out to be very popular with just about everybody, and did some paddleboarding. Our final excursion, we went up to Calaveras Big Tree State Park and went for a hike 5 miles up to look at a bunch of sequoias in a grove they have preserved and maintained. It was a neat hike. It was very warm, very humid, very green in the little valley that we were hiking up. But we've seen the redwoods along the shoreline, the Pacific redwoods. Sequoias are related to them, but they don't get as tall, but they're much bigger around, so it's pretty impressive to see them out in the forest.